What's up, everyone? David here. Got a new video for y'all today. But before we get into it, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification so you don't miss out on any new videos. Because remember, new videos on this channel are Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, so don't miss out. Now, today we're going to be talking about something that many of you could possibly be struggling with, or have already struggled, or will eventually struggle with. And I hope no one has to go through this. Lower back injuries, specifically from deadlifts, or essentially any movement where you're picking something off the ground. Not too long ago, I posted a short titled Heavy Deadlift Workout, and it is exactly as implied. It's a workout of me doing heavy deadlifts. What's something that can go wrong if you do them incorrectly? You blow out a vertebrae, herniate a disc, whatever it may be, regardless, it's a lower back injury. So after posting that, someone went ahead and commented, "Hey brother, I injured my lower back, more so deep stability muscles from doing too much heavy lifting at work with improper form. Would you have any advice on getting stronger in that area from a repetitive hinge injury?" First off, I'm sorry, bro. That's definitely, it sounds painful. I wish that upon no one. Speaking from personal experience, I've never actually injured my lower back from doing heavy deadlifts or just from working on general, knock on wood, because I hope to keep it that way. But I would like to also point out that although I'm doing these lifts, there's always people that comment on my deadlift saying, "Oh, keep lifting like that. In a couple years, you're not going to be able to stand tall." Or, "Nope, you keep doing like that, sooner or later, you're going to injure yourself. Hey, keep lifting or keep ego lifting, and you're going to blow out a vertebrae. You're going to herniate a disc. Something's bound to give." There's always people that comment that. But you got to keep in mind, I didn't get to this point overnight. Right now, my deadlift, I could easily hit anything in the 400s. My best deadlift is 455. I'm constantly repping out 405. I didn't just get to this point overnight. And a lot of the things that I did to get me to that strength are part of the reasons why I've been able to lift for so long, so heavy, with proper form, injury-free. And they're going to be the exact same things I'm going to go ahead and apply in this video. And hopefully, my guy, these are going to be some things that can go ahead and help you. So right away, I'm looking at some of the things that you mentioned. One, you mentioned improper form, that's just going to be the basis of everything. You want to stay injury-free, you got to go ahead and do it with, proper form. You got to make sure the technique is dialed in. You also mentioned stability muscles. So that's going to be a second key point that we're going to be talking about. But not just stability muscles, but just overall muscles involved with your full body. Because I always find it funny when people say when they're lifting, or for those of you who work anywhere and you have like those like online safety trainings, and they always say, or you see those video modules when you're going through your onboarding or HR trainings, whatever, and they say, lift with your legs, not your back. I always find it funny. I want to know where that saying came from, because they said lift with your legs, not with your back. No, that's not necessarily the case. You're lifting with your legs in addition to your back, along with your arms, to pick something off the ground. It's a full body workout. It's not just your legs. If it was just your legs, then essentially you'd be doing a leg press, but that's not necessarily the case. And another thing that you said, from a repetitive hinge injury, specifically right there, the repetitive part, just constantly doing it over and over, it will have its wear and tear. And that's one thing that many people don't understand. Even with the absolute best form in the world, even with the strongest muscles you could have, injuries are still bound to happen. If Olympians, if top-level strongmen, if elite powerlifters, the absolute best athletes in the world, if they're having access to the best doctors, the best training, the best rehabilitation centers, constantly perfecting the craft, if people like them can get injured, what makes you think average Joes like ourselves wouldn't get injured? So I just want to go ahead and say that injuries are just part of life. It's going to happen. You could be doing everything 100% to the best of your abilities, no flaws whatsoever. Something can still go wrong. That's just the nature of life. It is what it is. Another thing before we dial it in even more, I am by no means a doctor or a physical therapist or rehabilitation specialist or injury specialist. So I'm just going to be sharing with you, to the best of my knowledge, what I know about lifting, judging from the key points that you brought up in that comment. I'm going to be showing you what has worked for me, what I've seen in others, and just my general thought process behind all of this. So with that being said, let's get into it. So we're going to go ahead and start off with form, because you did mention improper form, and that's going to be one of the biggest things. And I wish you would have specified what type of object it was that you were lifting, because actually, depending on what it is that you're picking off the ground, that will also affect the type of form that you're going to have when actually grabbing it. Because I don't know how many of y'all have ever tried any type of like strongman training, or picking up like kegs or sandbags or tires. although technically yes, it could be a deadlift because you're picking it off from the ground, it definitely feels a lot different compared to actually lifting a barbell. But regardless, in my opinion, it all just generally has the same concepts. No matter what it is that you're actually going to be picking up from the ground, just general run through of what would be considered proper form. You approach the object, try to get close to it. If you're using a barbell, make sure you're close enough to the point where the bar is halfway over your feet. Everyone's anatomy is going to be a little different depending on, you know, the size of your foot, your limb length, everything. So if it feels more comfortable to get a little closer, go for it. If you feel a little more comfortable further back, it's just a general proximity of halfway over your foot. Feet are roughly going to be hip width apart. And that's another thing I see when people deadlift is they have such a wide stance when they squat, and that just throws off their form. When you deadlift, your feet are hip width. When you squat, your feet are shoulder width, so it's a little bit further out. Obviously, there's going to be some play. For me, this feels comfortable, but for someone with wider hips or maybe someone with a bigger frame, they might feel a little bit more comfortable going a little bit wider. Some people have a really wide stance, which there's nothing wrong. They just have to widen out their hands. And as long as they can still keep their back straight, chest up, head down, okay, good. Whatever works for you, that's just a general proximity. Hand placement with barbell movements. This one's going to be real specific, and this is what could also lead to other injuries. If you have a wider stance, just because you're a bigger person, you got wider hips, a bigger frame, okay, make sure that when you go down, those knees cave outwards. You never want your knees to come in. That's how injuries happen. And a lot of people feel the need that their hands have to be so close together, and because of that, their knees go inside of their hands and now they're caving in. This is just an injury waiting to happen in your knees, let alone your lower back. Widen out those hands just enough to the point where now your knees are pointing outwards. Obviously, it doesn't have to be as excessive as like a squat where your knees are pushed all the way out like this. No, but as long as we're avoiding caving them in, you're good. So hand placement should reflect that. Now from right here, sink those hips down and then straighten out that back, pinch those shoulder blades back. A lot of people, they lean so far forward, it's practically like they're falling forward like this, and now they're rounding their back. No. Sink those hips down, shoulders back, boom, back straight the entire time. And then from right there, when we pick up the actual item, that's just to get into the setup position. A lot of injuries can happen just from the lack of a proper setup. Take more time. It should take you longer to actually wedge yourself and set yourself up in the proper position than it would take to actually complete the rep and get the bar off the ground. Think about it. I'm spending all this time making sure my feet are aligned, making sure my hand grip is good, hips down, shoulders back, all that just to real quick lift the bar up. Take the time with the proper setup. Now, to execute the movement, this is where I feel like people say lift with your legs, not your back, but it's not just your legs, it's everything. It's just, let's try to add a little bit more leg into it. I want you to think that you're pushing your legs down into the ground. Think of it like you're leg pressing the floor away. So instead of thinking of the bar actually coming up, think about you're trying to break through the floor with your feet. Push down. Make sure also those hips don't shoot up like that. No, instead think legs down into the ground, and then you're gonna feel the weight come up, and you're just continuing that process throughout the whole rep as you're picking it up. Now, that's just for a barbell lift, which I said is a lot easier because it's an evenly shaped, object. But what if we have odd objects, things that don't necessarily have handles or are things that aren't meant to be picked up? So that's why I said I wish I would have clarified what is it that you were continuously hurting yourself picking up. But I got a tire right here, odd object. It doesn't weigh as much, it's only 75 pounds, but regardless, this is where I said it might vary a little the technique, but it still follows the general principles. Close proximity to the item. Stance might vary depending on your frame, whether it be hip width or shoulder width. Regardless, so what did I say with the barbell that will also apply here? Make sure those knees get caved outwards. If I'm going down to pick it up, I'm not making sure that these knees are caving in. I'm going to blow out a knee along with my lower back. No, push those knees out. Since it's a different shape, you can't really dig your legs under it. But if I feel more comfortable with a wider stance like this, okay, that's fine. As long as my knees still go out, okay, good. Now with the barbell, I did say hands outside of your knees to make sure your knees cave out. But with objects like this, it might be a little bit more easier to now go a little bit wider with the stance. Knees still pointed out, sink those hips, hands inside right here. But look what's happening with my back. I'm still maintaining that positioning that I did on the barbell. So I'm still making sure I'm not just rounding right here and just bending on my hips. No, leg also, knee bent. Look at lower back, really trying to minimize how much of it is bent. Essentially now what I'm doing is a squat stance, and from right here, same thing, push those legs down into the ground. Boom, make sure my hips aren't rising and I'm rounding my back, straightening it out one vertebrae at a time. That's how it would work for objects that, you know, a little bit different in shape, not necessarily meant to be picked up. But at the end of the day, as far as form goes, big things you're looking out for, get close to the item, push those knees out, sink those hips down, shoulders back, back straight, drive those legs into the ground to pick it up. Now, moving on to the muscle groups, you specifically said the stability muscles. We'll get to that. There's more muscle groups that are involved than you may think. When it comes to picking anything off the ground, yes, you're going to be using the muscles in your back, especially the lower back, to isometrically hold it in a straight position so you don't injure yourself. But along with it, going back to the same, people say lift with your legs, not your back. Okay, we also got to strengthen the muscles in our leg. Not just that, what else do we have to do? What is it that you're actually using to grab the item? Think about it. Right here, if I want to pick up this machine and move it over to the other side of the gym, here, I'm lifting with my legs. They're working. No, the machine's not moving. I actually got to use my hands along with it. You got to go ahead and grab and then lift with the legs, but I'm also using those arms to work out. It's a full body workout. It's not just your lower back. It's not just your legs. It's everything. You got to think of all the muscle groups that go in. One weak link is enough to make the whole chain weak. So let's go ahead and address everything. As far as legs go, let's start from the floor and make our way up. When you're picking something off the ground, okay, what did I say earlier? Leg press those legs into the floor. Okay, so let's work those muscle groups. I'm talking about quads, I'm talking about glutes. Look at those quad exercises. Do those squats with proper form. Do those quad exercises. You could do something like a leg extension where it's an isolation movement where you're working nothing but your quad. It could be a compound movement like a squat where you're working your quads and your glutes along with your core and your upper back to hold the bar here. Preferably, I would prefer the compound movements just because there's more carryover. It's a little bit more quote unquote functional, as in it has carryover to other activities outside of the gym. That's as far as quads go. Now, deadlift specifically, it's a lot more posterior chain dominant. Posterior chain means the muscles going alongside the back of your body, your calves, your hamstrings, your glutes, lower back, upper back, traps. All that needs to be worked out as well. This is what needs to be strengthened up. If you blow something out in your lower back, well, why was it straining so hard in the first place? Why was it working so hard to where it just couldn't handle it anymore and it gave out? It's working extra hard because it's overcompensating for probably another muscle group that's lacking, that's weaker. Wherever it is that you feel pain, wherever it is that you have an injury, it's a pretty good chance that the reason why it injured is not because that was the specific problem area. It's probably because it was working hard to compensate for the real issue, which is usually something above or below it. So for example, if it's your lower back, why is it working so much? Why is it on fire? Why is it burning so much when you deadlift, when you pick something off the ground? Well, it's probably because it's making up for the fact that there's probably another surrounding muscle group that's lacking. Your glutes, which is right below it, are not as strong as they could be. So because of that, the muscles in your lower back have to overcompensate and make up for the lack of glute strength, or vice versa. Your upper back is not strong enough to hold whatever weight that is you're trying to pull. So now lower back, I got to make up for the lack of strength up there. So I'm going to work double time. So you see, you got to work out all the muscles in the posterior chain. Starting off with what I believe to be the two biggest ones, glutes hamstrings. I definitely believe that men especially are not working their glutes enough, mainly because most people think that it's for aesthetics reasons. It's obviously women work their glutes, okay, they're doing it for looks, but there's definitely a bit of functionality behind it. Our glutes are the biggest and strongest muscle group in our body, so we need to go ahead and actually train them. You do train them indirectly when it comes to the squats, but I definitely believe here and there, throw in some hip thrusts. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Do some direct glute exercises. It'll just make them stronger. You don't have to do it for looks, but you're doing it for injury prevention. Just one direct glute exercise per week. It doesn't even have to be too bad. 3 good quality working sets, you're good to go. Another thing, hamstrings, definitely built in. We gotta work those out as well. Leg curls, like the machine that I'm on right now. Okay, great. It's a great isolation exercise for it. You can go ahead and do some compounds. You can go ahead and do something like good morning. I personally like doing a lot of good mornings. I definitely feel a good deep stretch in my hamstrings. You could do other variations where you're lengthening it out. You could be doing things like RDLs. Now, there's other exercises also that combine both glutes and hamstrings. And I think the number one biggest go-to, if we're limited just on time, just everything, back extensions right here. I mean, you want to talk about working the hamstrings and the glutes and mimicking the motion of a hinge pattern, which is what caused the injury in the first place. Okay, let's rehab it and let's get stronger in this movement right here. Big thing, don't round your back like this. That's how you cause the injury in the first place. Straighten it out, everything. Pinch those shoulder blades back, keep the lower back straight, just bending at the hip. Go down, feel the stretch in that hamstring. And when you go down, don't just let go and round. Keep that back straight the whole time and then come up. But when you come up, I want you to feel those hammies and glutes contract. Essentially, I want you to feel like you're pushing your hips, you're hip thrusting into the pad to get a little bit more glute involvement right here. Slow and controlled. You don't have to overload it. What we're doing here is we're working those muscles. You don't have to go excessively heavy on a back extension. When was the last time someone asked you, hey bro, how much can you back extension? No, if you want to do it weighted, go for it. Just make sure the form is still good. The heaviest I probably go with this is just holding a 45-pound plate. But other than that, majority of the time, I just go body weight. That's perfectly fine. That's what works for me. I'm doing this to strengthen up the hammies, the glutes, lower back going into upper back, just full posterior chain work with proper form. This exercise right here could be a game changer. So again, work those muscles. Another thing, upper back. Now when we're grabbing whatever item it is, if I want to go ahead and pick this up, I'm not going to pick it up with a rounded back. Okay, I already strengthened the muscles of my lower back with the back extension, but I don't want my upper back to round like this because you never know when it could trickle down. So I got to practice pinching shoulders back. I got to practice, just keeping that whole back straight as can be. Okay, what are we going to be working now? You're going to be looking at things like rows, anything where your arms are in front of you and pulling back. Really think about it as if you're maintaining good posture. Squeeze those shoulders back. Any type of rowing movement, there's just so many out there. You could do things like dumbbell rows, bent over rows. You can even do something like chest supported rows. That's something that I've recently been doing a lot more of. Just full stretch at the bottom, full contraction at the top, squeezing the shoulder blades back. Great exercises for that upper back. Really retracting, it will help out. All the muscles right there in that posterior chain will definitely have their time and place. So you definitely need to work them out as well. So those are the bigger muscles that we're talking about. But one other thing that you said specifically stability muscles, stabilizer muscles, however you want to refer to it as. I understand where you're going with this. Let's break it down. What is stability? I feel like a lot of people nowadays throw that term around, but does he really know what it means? To stabilize something means to resist movement. So when we're really saying our stabilizer muscles, we're really saying the muscles are going to help us resist movement. But we're trying to move in the first place. When we pick something off the ground, we have to move. So what exactly are we stabilizing? I think the bigger thing that we're looking at here is the core muscles, because we're not stabilizing our hamstrings. If anything, they're lengthening and contracting to help position ourselves and wedge ourselves in that deadlift position. We're not stabilizing our glutes. They're contracting and changing their length and range of motion throughout the entire motion as we're picking the bar or object off the ground. we got to go ahead and stabilize. That means resist movement in our back, our spine specifically, the muscles that are associated with keeping our spine in a neutral position. I think that's the point that you're trying to get at. That's what's important. Because no, we're not trying to keep our knees stable. We're trying to, lock them out and, bend them, be able to make them move in the range of motion as they're designed to. Stabilizer muscles oftentimes are what we refer to as the muscles in our core, because they quote unquote help us stabilize our spine. Now, what do those muscles consist of? There's so many out there. Everyone keeps saying that it's just abs. No, abs is just one of the muscle groups that is included in your core. But you got to keep in mind, your core is everything from right here to right here, this entire region. So you have your abs, which is the typical six-pack muscles that we all think of. We got our obliques, which is those finger-looking muscles right here on our sides. We got our QL, which are in the back, which help us bend side to side like that. And then we got our spinal erectors running alongside the entire length of our back. Our spinal erectors. Everyone keeps thinking that's just your lower back. No, they run the entire length of your spine. Spinal erectors, what allows us to erect our whole spine. All those muscles plus many more that are in there. Those are just the big four that we oftentimes would really be addressing. Let's go ahead and work them all. But if we're doing a deadlift, we're picking something off the ground, we're resisting movement, we want to make sure that back is as straight as possible. Okay, good. So what are some exercises we could do? You could do exercises where you're resisting of movement, so essentially some type of isometric type exercise, or you could do exercises where you're actually moving your back and training those muscles through the range of motion they're actually meant to go. So as far as isometric exercises, you could do something like a plank. You're contracting those abs, keeping that body straight, one straight line. Okay, good. I personally like to do ab rollouts because throughout the entire range of motion, I'm really emphasizing trying to keep that back straight. I'm really trying not to bend it, arch it, or move it any other direction. I just want to keep that back as straight as a board, go all the way down, and then roll the wheel back. That's personally what I like to do as far as the stability goes, because I'm resisting movement. But another thing is, although it's important to have a stable spine, oftentimes the injury comes because whatever movement it is that we're trying to do requires movement, but we're too busy actually trying to stay stable and resist the movement. Here's what I mean. If I have to pick something off the ground and move it up onto a shelf, there's gonna be some movement there. I don't know how many of y'all have ever seen, like, warehouse workers when they pick up, some type of heavy object, a box, something off of a pallet. They got to pick it up, and then they got to slightly twist to go ahead and put it up on this shelf or on this table, whatever it may be. And all of a sudden, it's not the actual picking up of the object that causes the injury. It's the moment they twist to the side to place it over here. It's that little movement, because although it is safe in certain exercises to keep our body in stiff position, specifically our back, keep it stable, at the same time, our spine was meant to move in so many different directions. If I'm right here, our spine is meant to go up and down. That's how we do our sit-ups. Go ahead and wedge your legs under something. Go ahead and hit those sit-ups. Okay, our back is meant to move in that position. Our spine is also meant to rotate side to side. So let's go ahead and do those Russian twists. Our back is also meant to just bend sideways. So that's when we can do those oblique crunches. There's just so many different directions that our back was able to move in. Also a combination of just everything, even diagonal. So I got a little bit of a crunch motion, a little bit of a twist motion. So think of like you're throwing or swinging a sledgehammer. So let's train our spine to move in all of those different directions. One, do your isometrics to keep our back stable, especially when doing heavy deadlifts or picking heavy objects off the ground to avoid injury. But at the same time, for the very few times where we may have to move under load, our back will have to move in a certain direction under a heavy weight. Let's go ahead and train those ranges of motions to get stronger in those movements as well. Do your crunches. Not just crunches, leg raises can work as well. I personally like doing a lot of leg raises. What we're really doing here is crunching this, contracting the abs, moving our spine forward and back. That's going to be good. Do your twisting exercises. Rushing twist right here. Hold the medicine ball, hold the weight plate, twist side to side. That'll work as well. Grab a cable and twist. Do some pal-off presses. That'll work as well. Grab a weight, hang it on your side. Do some side bends like this. Working out not necessarily your obliques. A lot of people think that those are what work your obliques. And yes, it will work just a tad bit. But that motion right here actually works your QL, which is a small muscle right here. So there you have it. Again, hey brother, I injured my lower back, more so deep stability muscles. Okay, we addressed all the muscle groups that go into picking something off the ground. The big muscle groups that we got to go ahead and strengthen with the priority on the posterior chain, along with the muscles in your core that are oftentimes used to stabilize and keep your back neutral, along with training them through their natural ranges of motion as well. From doing too much heavy lifting at work with improper form, which we also address how to properly wedge yourself in a position to pick some things off the ground, whether it be traditional weights of the barbell or odd shaped objects. Regardless, big things we're looking at here. Make sure you're pretty close to the actual item. Make sure your knees cave out when you go down. Make sure you sink your hips down. Make sure you keep that back straight. Make sure you push your legs into the ground as you're coming out to lock out those hips and knees. Would you have any advice on getting stronger in that area from a repetitive hinge injury? And then we address the actual motions of what are some of those smaller accessory exercises that mimic those hinge movements, and also other variations of, why you would be doing hinge in the first place to pick up, whether it be a tire or a bar. So hopefully we address everything that you were looking for when it comes to this particular question. Hopefully it helps you out. Again, I want to go ahead and emphasize, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a physical therapist. I'm not a rehabilitation specialist. If you're injured, seek professional help. I'm just giving you tips based on some things that I know and some of the things that have helped me keep myself injury free. Because again, I'm usually deadlifting pretty heavy and I haven't gotten injured up until this point. I didn't get here overnight. It took years to get to this point, and it's worked out pretty good so far. Because like I said, I haven't gotten hurt, and I hope to keep it that way because I keep practicing what I'm preaching. And hopefully some of the things that are presented here could be some things that can help you as well. So if any of you are experts in this, you got your certifications, you're, maybe chiropractor, physical therapist, sports medicine doctor, whatever it is, if there's some things that maybe I left out or maybe some things that I said incorrectly that you want to go ahead and correct, put it down in the comments. Let's try to help everyone out. Also, comment down below any other video suggestions you'd like to see me do, whether it be about mindset, motivation, nutrition, diets, workouts, programs, whatever it is, comment down below. I'd be more than happy to help y'all out. Be sure to subscribe to my channel so you miss out on any new videos. Because remember, new videos on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. So don't miss out. And Instagram and TikTok, same thing. Be sure to follow me on both accounts. I'll put all my links down in the description below. With that being said, I'll catch y'all next time.